Jesus of Nazareth, a teacher from the 1st century, delivered a timeless message about how life on earth could connect with God's heavenly kingdom. He referred to this as the arrival of God's kingdom, a concept that wasn't meant to be abstract but something people could experience in their daily lives. His teachings, especially the Sermon on the Mount, offer insights into how we should live, including a unique perspective on our relationship with material things. Jesus explained that material possessions can block us from experiencing God's presence. He used the term, stored up things, to describe the treasures we accumulate. It's natural for us to gather possessions. After all, they seem to bring comfort, security, and freedom. But Jesus warned that this mindset can be misleading. Our belongings might give us a sense of control, but in reality, they often control us. He said, "Don't store up treasures on earth, where moths destroy, rust ruins, and thieves break in to steal." Jesus wasn't saying it's wrong to own things. Instead, he was pointing out that when we place too much value on them, they can consume us. Even if we try to protect our possessions, we spend so much energy doing so that it distracts us from more important things, like our relationships and spiritual growth. Instead, Jesus urged his followers to store treasures in heaven. These heavenly treasures are not physical objects but acts of love, kindness, and compassion. When we care for others, build meaningful relationships, and live generously, we are storing treasures that last forever. Jesus said, "Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." This means that what we value most will shape who we are. If we focus on earthly things, our hearts will be tied to them. But if we focus on heavenly things, we'll grow closer to God. To help explain this idea, Jesus used a simple yet powerful metaphor. The lamp of the body is the eye. In his culture, having a good eye meant being generous and open-hearted, while a bad eye referred to being selfish or greedy. A generous perspective lights up our lives, bringing clarity and joy. But selfishness leads to darkness, which can cloud our judgment and leave us feeling empty. Jesus warned, "If the light in you is darkness, how great is that darkness?" This reminds us that being focused only on ourselves can harm not just others but also our own well-being. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how helping someone else can make you feel genuinely happy and fulfilled? That's the light Jesus was talking about. On the other hand, when we're overly protective of our possessions, it can leave us stressed and disconnected from what really matters. Jesus challenged his followers to live generously, not because it's easy, but because it leads to a richer, more meaningful life. Some might wonder if Jesus was asking people to give up everything they owned. There's a story where he told a wealthy man to sell all his possessions and give the money to the poor. But this wasn't a command for everyone. It was a way of teaching that our priorities matter. Jesus explained this further by saying, "No one can serve two masters. You will either hate one and love the other, or you will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money." Jesus was making a simple but profound point. Wealth can become a master that demands our loyalty. When we focus too much on acquiring and protecting what we own, it can end up controlling us. This is why Jesus invited people to think about what truly matters. Are we using our resources to serve others and build a better world, or are we letting those resources control us? Still, it's natural to worry about basic needs like food, clothing, and shelter. Jesus understood this and reassured his followers that God provides for his creation. He said, "Look at the birds. They don't plant seeds or gather crops, yet God feeds them. Aren't you much more valuable than birds?" He also pointed to flowers in the fields, saying, "They don't work or make clothes, but not even King Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these." Jesus' point was clear. If God cares so much for birds and flowers, how much more will he care for us? He asked, "Who among you can add even an hour to your life by worrying?" Worrying about material things, he explained, doesn't solve anything. Instead, Jesus encouraged people to focus on God's kingdom. He said, "Seek first God's kingdom and righteousness, and all these things will be given to you." This shift in perspective, from worrying about scarcity to trusting in abundance, can change the way we live. Jesus wasn't suggesting that we ignore our needs or responsibilities. Instead, he was inviting us to trust that when we prioritize love, kindness, and faith, our needs will be met. As Jesus wrapped up this teaching, he gave his followers one final piece of advice: don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will take care of itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. This is a powerful reminder to stay focused on the present moment and not let unnecessary fears steal our peace. Through these teachings, Jesus showed a better way to live, one that is free from the stress of materialism and full of trust, generosity, and meaning. When we let go of our attachment to possessions and focus on what truly matters, we can experience the joy and peace of God's kingdom here and now. Thank you for watching this video and reflecting on these powerful teachings of Jesus. If this message touched your heart, share it with someone who might need it today. Remember, the path to true peace and joy begins with trust, kindness, and focusing on what truly matters. Until next time, may you walk in peace and share love wherever you go.